We've successfully routed the Jet Brigade at Imber, buying valuable time to consolidate our forces. Though this initial batch is dealt with, we still need to figure out where they're coming from. All we know at the moment is that their fabricators are somewhere in automaton space. Until further updates, our mission is twofold. Continue liberating and defending planets for the Major Order. Lesath is under heavy attack. Any support we can offer is valuable. Meanwhile, the offensive at Gar-Horen is progressing smoothly, and we can expedite its liberation. Deploy your destroyers where they'll make the most impact, and be ready to adapt to evolving threats. That's all. Dismissed. We are one step closer to discovering the Jet Brigade's planet of origin. While you were gathering weapon telemetry data, we decrypted an automaton database with numerous mentions of Chuhe as their staging ground. High Command considers that liberating this planet will give us further intel on their factories' location. However, Chuhe is behind enemy lines, and we must decide where to focus the bulk of our assault. As it stands, we have three options. Matar Bay is in the neighboring Andromeda sector with an already ongoing liberation campaign and a significant amount of allied forces that are currently engaged with the enemy. Supporting those efforts would make the most sense, as we would be reaching Chuhe sooner if everything goes to plan and we keep our momentum. The second option, Menken, is a familiar battlefield to the veterans among you. Its harsh conditions make it difficult to fight in, but our threat assessment shows it has a similar concentration of automaton forces to Matar Bay. Its liberation would take time, but it wouldn't take as long as our final option. Out of the three, Court Bay has the highest presence of enemy forces. The planet's asset storms would make an uphill battle even more difficult, as our armor wouldn't be as effective. We would require an even larger amount of allied forces to make the same amount of progress as Menken, let alone Matar Bay. Beyond these planets lies Chuhe and the chance to put an end to the Jet Brigade once and for all. Choose wisely. Dismissed. A multi-trillion supercredit contract has been awarded to AM Defense. This company is responsible for supplying us with some of our state-of-the-art weaponry. Our war effort wouldn't be the same without them. The company has chosen Achenar Secundus in the Borges sector for their new project, a multi-complex factory hub. This mega project is only the first milestone of a renewed partnership with our government. Thermal signatures in the Ginshi sector spiked only moments after construction began. Our experts believe that the Terminates are somehow alerted of our large-scale movements. They have now begun their attack on liberated planets. Starting with Fact Bay, our job is to defend and secure any planets the Terminates decide to get their claws on. Our projections require 4 successful planetary defenses. That should be enough to halt their advance and secure the systems leading to the Borgus sector. Achenar Secundus must remain under our control. Dismissed. This just isn't something we were ready for. Alright, here's what we know. Super Earth has declared LibCon 1. Whatever tasks we were working on are now off limits. High Command just sent an emergency broadcast telling all units to disregard all prior tasking. We also received new orders down the same link. All Helldivers are ordered to Calypso immediately. We've detected Illuminate signatures and we have to hold the planet for as long as we can. It's just our luck that the DSS is out of commission. The station is suffering multiple catastrophic system failures, with sabotage being suspected. It'll be a while until it's up and running again. With the DSS out of action, we'll have to brute force our defense. We haven't fought the Illuminate since the First Galactic War, so this is new territory for all of us. Trust your training, weapons, and each other. We now have a war on 3 fronts on our hands, everyone. Liberty save us. Dismissed. It's been a day since we defended Calypso from the enemy. 40 million Helldivers made the ultimate sacrifice to defend our way of life. Their deaths must not be in vain. The Illuminate's next targets as of this briefing are the Rictus and Morgan sectors. We're in for a long-term conflict here. Much like Calypso, there are urban settlements at play. Plan your equipment and tactics accordingly. Our intel suggests that this is still their vanguard force, so expect a similar order of battle to that of Calypso. Harvesters, overseers, and an unrelenting horde of former citizens, the voteless. Remember to utilize any siege assets on the ground to your advantage. Whatever SAM sites you can bring back online will greatly undermine their landing force. Likewise, make use of any artillery guns and fast recon vehicles you can find. We cannot allow the Illuminate to establish a beachhead. Dismissed. We're on the 6th day of our campaign against the Illuminate. Their movements have been erratic. It's been difficult to issue any early warnings to our colonies. The fleet's efforts in planetary defense are commendable. If we keep pushing them back, that's more time for High Command to devise a counterattack. The Illuminate's latest movement is targeting Achenar Secundus in the Borgus sector. It is likely their abhorrent mutations on the vote list led to the discovery of AM Defense's factory hub. Fleet-wide deliveries of the fast recon vehicle are now at great risk of destruction. This is only their latest hit-and-run attack. They are trying to disrupt our plans and wear us down through attrition. Fortunately, we are being granted access to new weaponry from Stahl Arms, courtesy of the Ministry of Defense. Get acquainted with this new equipment and use it to great effect against the Illuminate. I understand the electromagnetic anomalies surrounding Meridia and the Illuminate's proximity to the system are of great concern to many of you. We are checking and will deliver you more information as it becomes available. AM Defense's multi-complex factory hub must survive the Illuminate incursion. We also must save as many colonists as we can. Make best speed for the Borgus sector. Dismissed. No, I'm not wearing the Santa hat for the briefing. Oh. High Command has given us details regarding Meridia. For those newer to the core, Meridia is no ordinary black hole. It didn't originate from the death of a star. Meridia was once a prosperous planet until the Terminates turned it into a super colony of their own, following the failure of the Terminate control system. Our last resort was to employ dark fluid, a relic from the First Galactic War and an exotic substance with Illuminate origins. High Command now believes that the use of this fluid created deeply rooted connections between Meridia and the last surviving Illuminate that we've been dealing with. To know more, we have to study it further. A new science center will begin construction on Fenrir 3 once we've completed its liberation campaign. Though observations from our super destroyers have surely aided the scientific community, our warships are just not outfitted for this type of mission, hence the need for a purpose-built facility. We must secure the Umlaut sector to learn more about the Meridia singularity. Dismissed. The Illuminate have continued their hit-and-run attacks through the week. While Super Earth celebrated the Festival of Reckoning with discounts to die for, some have continued the defense of managed democracy. We have yet to understand the Illuminate's goals. All we know is they target a planet and we repel their invasion, only for the cycle to repeat elsewhere. We can only assume they were amassing resources for something while probing our defenses. It's likely related to the Meridian singularity. In the meantime, we are to inflict as many Illuminate losses as possible while pushing them back. Our goal is to gather their remains for study, mainly to understand the transformation of former citizens into voteless, and perhaps even gain insight into the enemy's motives. That is all. Dismissed. The Illuminate has created a new wave of terror. As we repel them from every planet they touch, they continue to instill doubt and fear in liberated planets elsewhere. Our citizens worry their homes might be the next target of an unseen enemy that fights not only in the streets and fields, but in the mind as well. In response to this, our government has enacted the Freedom and Readiness to Enable Effective Defense and Obstruction of Mind Influence Act of 2184, more easily referred to as the Freedom Act. You may read further details about this document on your screens, but what's currently of importance to us is what else they are authorizing with this. The Act calls for the construction of a Center for Citizen Surveillance and Safety on Mostia. This means that we'll send the bulk of our forces to that planet for its liberation campaign. But that's not all. We also have to liberate Tarsh once more and secure Yelivar. This means that the Marspira and Talus sectors must be under Super Earth's control by the end of the Major Order. We still have no word from the DSS, so it's still business as usual since the Illuminate arrived. This war is not only against our enemies, but also against terror itself. We must keep our citizens safe. Dismissed. We now shift our focus to the Eastern Front. An increased flow of Terminate spores has been recorded emanating from the gloom by the Xenoentomology Center on Turing. It is now rapidly spreading across all Terminate-occupied space. The first signs of a more aggressive expansion have been reported in the planets Grand Errant and Ferkat Secundus in the Farsight sector. These attacks are vectored from both Gautria and Garharan in the Jinshi sector. While we must defend the planets under attack, the opportunity to cut off their assault from these neighboring systems cannot be ignored. I'll leave that decision up to you. But bear in mind the current Terminate outbreak risk is classified as very high, so choose wisely. In the case they happen to gain control of a planet, that means they'll gain more momentum for the future. Our estimates suggest that we must repel 5 Terminate offensives to break their advance. Polaris Prime and Fenrir 3 must also remain under our control. The latter is located in the Umlaut sector next to Meridia. We must stop the Terminate horde from gaining any more ground. Dismissed. It's been a while since we heard anything from the Democracy Space Station. High Command has now declared the DSS fully operational and fit for service once more, with some considerations. Some of you may remember the mayhem it unleashed upon ongoing operations with its planetary bombardment. There were times when it made navigation and mission completion difficult, as our friendly fire incidents skyrocketed. High Command understands this and has replaced this tactical action with a heavy ordnance distribution. When active, this will allow the DSS Logistics Armada to supply our super destroyers with surplus 380mm shells, giving our ships the capability to provide additional support on demand. This is on top of a standard stratagem loadout, so do remind your Helldivers to bring any other options besides the 380. Additionally, the DSS's power plant has been refitted. It will now be able to make jumps 6 times as fast to respond to evolving threats. Which brings me to the final point. The Illuminate continues to terrorize our colonies and abduct citizens to replenish their ranks with voteless. With what we know about their modus operandi, it is a perfect time to test the DSS and its neo capabilities. High Command wants us to repel at least 14 Illuminate incursions with the help of the station. Remember to cast your vote for its next jump. Dismissed. Those scientists at Turing are really proving themselves. They've been experimenting on terminates with spores originating from the gloom. They're reporting an increase in E710 output through specimen mutations after being exposed to these spores. Sometimes the increase is tenfold. High Command considers this an untapped energy source, so much so that its repercussions could even affect civilian sectors. It would also allow an increase in colonial and military operations. The Xeno-Entomology Center on Turing is to prioritize the development of gloom-resistant technology, so we can look into and traverse the gloom. This is where we come in. We are to support their efforts by collecting at least 22 million common samples from Errata Prime, and 15 million rare samples from Gacrux. Additionally, Fenrir 3 and its Center of Science must be secure by the end of the Major Order. Best get to filling those sample containers. Dismissed. We now know the location of the Jet Brigade's fabricators. While we were occupied with the Illuminate and the sudden Terminate expansion, our intelligence services were tirelessly decrypting what little information was recovered from Chuhe. Those of you who experienced that campaign will remember how close the Jet Brigade got to disrupting the construction of the Democracy space station. Though we pushed them back, the remnants retreated into automaton space to recover. Our intel suggests that Court Bay is home to the fabricators replenishing their numbers. If we liberate that planet in time, that will surely deal a significant blow to the Jet Brigade's production. As of this briefing, the most straightforward route is through Lasad. By liberating that planet, we can secure our supply lines and make our way to Court Bay. Men Kent is too heavily defended, and we would have to finish Vernon Wells' liberation before even considering that route. Today, the Helldivers charge first. Boldly they dive, and well. Dismissed.
Hellpods primed.
This is a status update after the Major Order. We successfully liberated Court Bay and put a stop to the Jet Brigade's assembly lines. Commendations are in order. But our job isn't over yet. The DSS detected these vertically enhanced models on Men Kent. The station jumped to that planet and enforced an orbital blockade, preventing the Jet Brigade from evacuating its forces off Men Kent or launching an offensive to Lassath for some time. At the moment, we continue to wear them down, one unit at a time. While we may not completely eradicate them anytime soon, any advantage in future battles is more than welcome. But there's something else going on. The Meridian Singularity continues to be a matter of concern. Super Earth has issued a travel advisory on grounds of increased gravitational disturbances around the former planet. We've also detected odd space-time fluctuations and strange FTL communications beyond the Outer Rim. It's unmistakable these are of Illuminate origin. We must be ready to repel any upcoming major Illuminate offensives at a moment's notice and secure a new defensive line against the automatons. We've faced insurmountable odds before, and we will do it again. Dismissed.
Hellpods primed.
High Command has issued a new set of orders. Recent actions at Men Kent and Court Bay slowed down the Jet Brigade and spoiled their plans for a surprise attack on Lassath. However, they continue to be a significant threat despite our concentrated efforts and the Democracy space station's orbital blockade on Men Kent. The automatons hope to cut off our supply lines at Lassath to isolate our liberation forces at Court Bay. We now have two main objectives. Firstly, we must secure the ongoing evacuation of Court Bay. If that planet becomes isolated, there will be no way for us to withdraw our forces and equipment there. We overextended to destroy the Jet Brigade's fabricators. Now we must regroup and consolidate our gains. Secondly, we have to repel the Jet Brigade's current attack on Lasar. Yesterday's actions did a number on them, but there's still a mission-capable force that threatens our operations in the Lacaia and Hydra sectors. The anniversary of the Second Galactic War is upon us. Our guns volley and thunder to stop the charge of the Jet Brigade. Dismissed.
Hellpods primed.
We now know what's happening to Meridian. As we continue our operations on the Western Front, Fenrir 3 Science Center has carried on its study on the Meridian Singularity and the space-time fluctuations caused by the Illuminate. We now have an answer connecting the two. For centuries, humanity has been aware of the universe's expansion, and how it has accelerated over time. Many theories were put forth to explain this expansion. One of them has now been proven in unfortunate circumstances. Dark energy. Dark energy is a phenomenon that pushes the universe apart and accelerates it over time. It may also compose 68% of the observable universe. The Illuminate has discovered a way to somehow harvest this and weaponize the Meridian Singularity. Their goal is now clear. Collect dark energy to change Meridia's position. It is now on course to Super Earth and accelerating. Every attack, every invasion repelled by us will frustrate the Illuminate's efforts to collect dark energy from our galaxy and increase Meridia's speed. Liberty help us. Dismissed.
Hellpods primed.
Meridia continues on its trajectory. As the Illuminate keeps manipulating our galaxy's dark energy to steer the Singularity, we now have evidence that Meridia is likely to have a rendezvous with Angel's Venture if it continues to accelerate on its current course. However, the Helldiver Corps has been preparing for a major order of this nature. Commander Rod, you have the floor.
Thank you. Helldivers, this is Commander Rod of the 95th Helldiver Division. The war has changed. If we do not stop the Illuminate, the Cataclysm will consume Angel's Venture, then continue towards Super Earth itself. As of right now, a coalition of over 20,000 Helldivers has assembled, drawn from every corner of the galaxy. Groups that once fought under different banners now stand together. Freedom Alliance, the International Helldiver Coalition, and every major Helldiver force from within the Liberty Nexus are united against this threat. First, we must eliminate all voteless and destroy as many monolith spires as we can get our hands on. These structures are key to Illuminate operations. Secondly, we are to defend against 11 Illuminate invasions. We must halt their dark energy harvesting at all costs. Failure is not an option.
Every successful raid by the Illuminate allows them to accelerate Meridian. The sooner we can rout Illuminate forces off our planets, the less amount of dark energy for them to collect.
The Freedom Alliance will be on the front lines, spearheading counterattacks while holding critical defensive positions. The Illuminate will throw everything they have at us, but we do not break. We do not falter. We never surrender. Roughnecks, you know the stakes. We fight for Super Earth, for Angel's Venture, for every citizen who cannot fight for themselves. This war is bigger than all of us, but we are the ones standing between freedom and oblivion.
Alongside our efforts, the 1st Colonial Regiment's major initiative is now in motion. We cannot allow the Meridian Singularity to reach Super Earth and her colonies. Billions of lives are at stake. Dismissed.
Hellpods primed.
Angel's venture has fallen to the Illuminate's wrath. Our efforts to repel Illuminate incursions were not enough to prevent the planet's destruction. Meridia's rendezvous shattered Angel's venture, leaving it devoid of atmosphere and life. Its remains glow hot from its final moments inside the Meridian Singularity's Roche limit. Today, millions perished to the Illuminate's mastery of the cosmos. The President of Super Earth gave a statement, now displayed on your screens, and has declared a galaxy-wide mourning period of 24 hours. A small gesture for the millions of lives snuffed out in senseless cruelty. The following planets now lie in the black hole's path: Moradesh, Ivis, Nublaria 1, Pillen 5, New Haven, and Super Earth. Meridia will continue leaving destruction in its wake if we don't put a stop to the Illuminate's plans and incursions. We cannot fail again. Dismissed.
Hellpods primed.
Fenrir 3's Center of Science is under attack. Only mere hours ago, we detected a rise in thermal signatures emanating from the gloom. The Terminates are once again on the offensive. Intelligence is scarce on this new threat, however. Those that have engaged enemy forces planetside have failed to return. What we do know is that this is a new variation of the Terminate's rapidly evolving species. Scientists have named it the Predator strain. Those small pieces of information that have made it back to us describe an intelligent foe, capable of ambushes and subterfuge with pale chitinous shells. A much more intelligent and maneuverable version of common hives spread across the eastern front. Fenrir 3 is a key location in our efforts to study the Meridian Singularity and the Illuminate's manipulation of dark energy to weaponize it. Without them, we wouldn't have realized the purpose of their monoliths and planetary raids. If the Terminates succeed in their attack, we will lose valuable facilities to our war effort. More importantly, we will suffer irreparable human losses to our scientific community. Fenrir 3 must survive. Dismissed.
Hellpods primed.
We have news from Turing. The Xenoentomology Center has been hard at work studying how the gloom mutates Terminate specimens and increases their E710 output. They have also deployed the first wave of communication systems and spore filters designed to resist the gloom. Following Fenrir 3's successful defense against the Predator strain, enemy remains strewn across the planet have provided a vital research opportunity. Scientists discovered that E710, the very fuel powering our Alcubierre drives, shares similar, if not identical, properties with dark energy. This could be the key to understanding how the Illuminate manipulates dark energy and the Meridian Singularity. Our course of action is now clear. We are to lead the way into the gloom to further our studies of E710 and replenish our fuel stores. Currently, Fori Prime's conditions within the gloom are stable enough for us to spearhead an expedition into the region. Once we make planetfall, our objectives are to eliminate 1 billion Terminates, collect 100 million common samples, and successfully liberate Fori Prime. However, our use of the DSS for this major order is prohibited, to preserve the planet's integrity and biology. Into the mouth of hell dove the Helldivers. Dismissed. Our brief expedition into the gloom was successful, but now we must turn our attention westward. Unlike recent major orders, this time we face a critical decision that will shape the outcome and determine how many planets we'll hold by the end. As of this briefing, the automatons have launched planetary invasions in the Charon and Bekvum systems. Charon lies in the Andromeda sector, while Bekvum is in the Nanos sector, sharing supply lines with Julheim and Dumatir. If the automatons succeed in taking Charon Prime, they can push deeper into Andromeda, targeting Charbal 7 and threatening Julheim from the west. On the other hand, if Bekvum 3 falls, Julheim and Dumatir will be left wide open. In the best case and unlikely scenario, we can defend both Bekvum 3 and Charon Prime, halting the Marfark and Martal defensives entirely. The reverse is also true. If we lose both systems, the automatons will have free reign over the Andromeda sector, while we struggle to defend Nanos. Dumatir is also of strategic importance. After several delays in the production of MD8 gas mines, the planet is set to begin fleet-wide deliveries of the stratagem. Previously, we only had access to these mines in short supply and brief arsenal augmentations. On the other hand, Julheim isn't connected to any important military or scientific development. However, there is a facility there. The Good Citizen Andrews' School for Moderately Feeble Young Adults. Right. If the planet falls to the automatons by the end of the major order, we won't be able to save the lives of the moderately feeble young adults. The stakes are clear. Where will the Helldivers go? The world's wonder. Dismissed.
Hellpods primed.
We held the line in the Andromeda and Nanos sectors. Our performance resulted in the best possible outcome. There were intel reports of a mass automaton firmware update that temporarily diminished their combat readiness. This could explain our sudden momentum to secure Julheim and Dumatir. But as harsh as it sounds, we don't have time to celebrate. Our enemies continue their schemes. We've detected a new automaton offensive from Bog Sajad. Their target is the Deep Mental Forge complex on Claurel. The planet was key in supplying Super Earth with chromium, cobalt, nickel alloys for the construction of the DSS. If Claurel falls to the automatons, they could use it to replenish their forces. Now to our second problem. Meridia continues to be of significant concern. Its next target is Moradesh, home to the aptly named Moradesh Research Facility. This installation was pivotal in the eradication of the Terminate super colony on Meridia with dark fluid, resulting in the planet-destroying singularity we see today. The facility's ventilation systems also contain minute concentrations of dark fluid, which could aid us in our Illuminate research. Moradesh must be saved at all costs. We must repel at least 8 Illuminate incursions. If we fail, a chance to turn the tide will be lost. Our resources will be spread thin in this operation. The fate of 2 planets depends on us. Dismissed.
Hellpods primed.
Fenrir 3's Center of Science continues to be invaluable. Our gravitational wave observatories have aided the Center of Science's analysis, resulting in an answer that has eluded us since Meridia's initial trajectory change and acceleration. Whatever dark energy the Illuminate harvests from our planets is then transported to Meridia and subsequently ferried into the Singularity to manipulate its movement. The enemy's methods to store and transport dark energy remain unclear. However, It is likely this logistical effort is supported by their starships. This same assumption has led High Command to enforce a naval blockade around Meridia. Commander Rod, if you please.
Alright, thank you. Establishing a blockade of this magnitude will be no small feat. We're talking truly massive amounts of resources, both human and material, to prevent any Illuminate ships from reaching the Singularity. Our goals, planet-side, are spread across two fronts, but they're simple. Secure scrap metal from the automatons, and E710 from the Terminus.
On the topic of planets, Voxajoth has an ongoing liberation campaign, while liberating Boar Rock would provide us with a much-needed boost in fixed-wing ordnance production, giving our Eagles a faster turnaround.
Priority targets are Shredder tanks and Bile Titans. Now, these are heavy units, and they'll largely contribute to the stockpile needed to build all the warships and the infrastructure that's critical for this blockade. We'll be aiding the construction of a colossal force by doing what we do best. Dismissed.
Hellpods primed.
We thought it would be different this time. Moradesh has been destroyed by the Meridian Singularity. Though 95% of the planet's Class C and higher citizens were evacuated, it's still a significant blow. The Ministry of Humanity has declared 24 hours of reflection on one thing only: vengeance. Meridia's projected trajectory continues to threaten Ivis, Nublaria 1, Pillan 5, New Haven, and Super Earth. Fenrir 3's Center of Science has devised a strategy with High Command that consists of 3 stages. The partial naval blockade was the first. Now we will enact the second stage. Stage 2 calls for the construction of a Penrose energy siphon. According to the Center of Science, this will be a giant rocket launched towards Meridia for a precise rendezvous. Upon arrival, the spacecraft will maneuver into Meridia's ergosphere, a region just outside the event horizon, influenced by the black hole's rotation. At the lowest point of its orbit, the spacecraft will eject a portion of its mass deeper into Meridia, effectively using it as a propellant. If executed correctly, this maneuver will allow the spacecraft to siphon energy from the black hole's rotation, increasing its speed as it escapes the ergosphere. The spacecraft will be built in the orbits of Achenar Secundus, Fenrir 3, Heath, and Ursica 11. The first 2 planets are currently under Terminator attack and must be defended. Achenar Secundus is also home to AM Defense's factory hub. If the planet falls, we'll lose the fast recon vehicle's main production plant. We're already recording production delays due to the attack. Meanwhile, Fenrir 3 is critical to the war effort with its Center of Science and numerous scientific discoveries. It is also under threat from the Predator strain. Helldivers, I pray for your success. Dismissed.
Hellpods primed.
The Penrose energy siphon is on schedule. Our 3-stage plan is progressing smoothly. The spacecraft's modules have been delivered to Ivis and assembly has begun. Now we are tasked with collecting enough E710 to fuel its planned mission to Meridia. We estimate that 1.25 billion terminates will satisfy this requirement. Succeeding in this endeavor would buy Ivis time, as we continue to find a long-term solution. However, the automatons have deployed new specialized units with sadistic subroutines. These units are known as the Incineration Corps, easily identifiable by their color scheme and copious use of incendiary weapons. Much like the Jet Brigade before them, these machines are spearheading a large offensive, currently targeting the Ymir, Andromeda, and Nanos sectors. High Command expects us to decide which front takes priority. Theirs to make reply, There's to reason why. Dismissed.
Hellpods primed.
We must focus on fuel extraction and liberation efforts now. The previous major order resulted in a strategic defeat. We weren't capable of defending against the incineration core, nor fueling the Penrose energy siphon. Incoming intelligence reports detail an automaton push that seeks to reclaim industrial infrastructure in the Severin sector. Unfortunately, we must focus on the Eastern Front after last week's failure. Acquiring enough E710 supply is now our top priority to deploy the Penrose energy siphon and decelerate Meridia. The spacecraft remains on standby in the orbit of Ibis, a planet estimated to have only a week left before its rendezvous with Meridia, unless we do something about it. Ibis is now anticipating a full-scale evacuation if nothing else changes. Therefore, our objective is to liberate the planets Boar Rock and Esker in the Falstaff sector. Their proximity to the gloom may prove troubling, as the Predator strain is likely to make an appearance. In any case, these two planets are key to meeting our fuel supply quota. We don't have to make any strategic decisions here. Simply, liberate Boar Rock and move on to Esker with the aid of the DSS, if possible. That is all. Dismissed.
Hellpods primed.
Oh, and pass me that old... The Penrose energy siphon was a success. As predicted, the spacecraft extracted rotational energy from Meridia, also causing a decrease in its dark energy accumulation. We've bought Ibis and Super Earth some time with this one-off mission. Fenrir 3's Center of Science has concluded that the Meridian Singularity is bound to lose momentum and come to a stop eventually. There are two possibilities. The first and most disastrous model predicts Meridia continuing on its course and coming to a relative halt once it passes Super Earth and all the planets before it. This model didn't factor in the Penrose energy siphon, nor our continued efforts. The second scenario does consider these two elements and predicts the Singularity stopping somewhere before its rendezvous with Super Earth. Whether it takes more planets with it before this event is now up to us. Our next order of business is to focus on planetary defenses and repel the Illuminate in a concerted effort to deprive Meridia of any more dark energy and continue its deceleration. We require at least 6 successful defenses. The sooner we push them off our planets, the better. High Command is also authorizing a temporary arsenal augmentation with an all-new defensive stratagem. Make good use of this fortification for these upcoming defenses. We'll earn fleet-wide delivery of it if this major order succeeds. There is much to be done. Dismissed. Have you tried this oatmeal? It's delicious. Thanks.
Hellpods primed.
The automatons' plans are once again in motion. A large-scale offensive has been detected from the Trigon and Tsar sectors. These are undoubtedly being spearheaded by the incineration core. A few days ago, we received intelligence regarding the automatons' desire for industrial infrastructure in the Severin sector. Now, the incineration core is acting on this by launching invasions from the planets Ingmar and Mort to lock down the Trigon sector and move their front line further south. In the worst-case scenario, the automatons will be able to launch offensives from these locations to the Maya and Mantis systems. And if those defenses fail, we will return to Malevolon Creek. The creek is a planet with rich rhodium deposits and was a key point in the early days of the Second Galactic War. Many a Helldiver met their end there in a drawn-out operation to reclaim the planet. sometimes at the expense of other major orders. Ultimately, the planet was liberated and Super Earth declared April 3rd as Malevelon Creek Memorial Day. Any Helldivers that survived the jungles of Malevelon received a commemorative cape. Now the automatons return, seeking the rare earth in the planet's crust. Effective usage of the DSS and its tactical actions will be pivotal to the success of our operation, mainly in a support role for defense gambits by cutting off automaton attacks from their planet of origin, either by orbital blockade or outright liberation. Make your votes count. If the automatons succeed, not only will they desecrate hallowed ground, but we will lose even more territory in the process. They that had fought so well came through the jaws of death. Dismissed.
Hellpods primed.
The Vandalon Ingmar Purpley defensive line continues to hold. Our efforts were temporarily focused on Jolheim before the Incineration Corps attacked Vandalon 4. The situation looked initially uncertain. With the aid of the DSS, a safe counterattack and an increasing Helldiver presence, we held the line at Vandalon. However, as we once again began focusing on Jolheim, the automatons redeployed an all-too-familiar force from the depths of Aurora Bay. The Jet Brigade has returned. As a reminder, these vertically enhanced models utilize reverse-engineered jump pack technology for fast and aggressive attack patterns. The last time we faced them was during our liberation of Court Bay to destroy their fabricators. For now, protecting the Severin sector continues to be our priority. As of this briefing, the Jet Brigade quickly transited from Aurora Bay to Mort, and subsequently launched an attack on Purpley 9. Whether other invasion fleets join their offensive is to be seen. Storm them with shot and shell. Dismissed.
Hellpods primed.
A lot has happened since our previous briefing. Against all odds, we won the battle for Purpley 9. Planet side, the automatons threw everything they had at us. Incineration Corps, a freshly built Jet Brigade, and supply line disruptions that resulted in lower reinforcement budgets and ammunition shortages. With the aid of the DSS and its Eagle Storm tactical action, we ground one of their largest planetary invasions to a halt. Now the automatons are in disarray after such a significant loss of resources. They no longer have any specialized units in the theater for the time being. The enemy is disoriented, shocked, and weakened by our success. The Purpley counter-offensive has begun. Our forces have chosen Jolheim as our next target for liberation. Other planets affected by the automatons' collapse are Troost, Ustotu, Mort, and Beckvam 3. Super Earth expects each Helldiver to do their utmost. Dismissed.
Hellpods primed.
We've lost yet another planet to the Illuminate. While we slowed down the Meridian Singularity enough to secure Super Earth, the other planets on its path continue to be in danger. One of them has just shared the same fate as Moridesh and Angel's Venture. Although Ibis's destruction is unfortunate, this has rallied Super Destroyer squadrons to defend planets from Illuminate invasions. This will certainly help bring Meridia to a halt, as its dark energy accumulation has been slowed with our naval blockade and the Penrose energy siphon. The Illuminate has also increased the frequency of its attacks, most likely in a drive to speed up the Singularity once more. As of this briefing, the planets Bellatrix and Alamac 7 are under threat. Our efforts to reclaim lost worlds from the automatons are progressing smoothly. So are our defense efforts against the Terminids on Ursica 11. We've yet to receive further orders from High Command, but we will continue our efforts in Ivis's memory. Dismissed.
Hellpods Prime.
It's time to decide on an upgrade for the DSS. High Command has concluded the Democracy Space Station should be improved after our successful defense of Purpley 9. Clourel's Deep Mantle Forge Complex proposed 2 upgrade packages, each with different fulfillment requirements and effects. The first package calls for the liberation of automaton factories on Wazen in the Emir sector. We would have to push through the Ustotu and Varilya systems to reach it. If liberated, the station will be fitted with an exosuit support bay that would reduce the cooldown of set stratagems by 35%. That's quite significant. The second package requires the liberation of Trandor in the Sten sector. For this objective, we can either attack from Achenar Secundus or Polaris Prime. Either way, we need to liberate Godtria so we can then launch an offensive on the Trandor system. Once again, if successful, the DSS will be fitted with an expanded convocation bay, reducing Eaglecraft turnaround by 15%. This option also involves an agreement with AM Defense, the same company supplying us with fast recon vehicles. Both choices are beneficial in the long run and will shape how we use those stratagem families on the field. Dismissed.
Hellpods Prime.
High Command has authorized another foray into the gloom. The designated planet is Nivelle 43 in the Marin sector. Its gloom levels are low enough for our specialized equipment at this time. The Spore Burst strain is on the field, so plan your mission loadouts accordingly. All super destroyers are advised of increased enemy density and higher casualty rates in gloom-specific missions. It is unclear if the Predator strain will make an appearance. The purpose of this expedition is as follows. Collect enough E710 to supply Fenrir 3's Center of Science with enough fuel to further research dark energy manipulation. This is in hopes of enacting the third and final phase of our 3-stage plan to bring the Meridian Singularity to a halt. Much like the first expedition, the DSS will not be able to support us in this operation. I know this disappoints some of you after recent events, but we can't risk the planet's integrity at this time. We know the score. It's time to get to work. Dismissed.
Hellpods Prime.
The final phase of our 3-stage plan is in motion. We liberated Nivelle 43 and have collected enough E710 to proceed. High Command has authorized the construction of a repulsive gravity field generator, a device capable of creating an artificial repulsive gravitational force. This device has the potential to stop the Meridian Singularity's trajectory, at a great cost of energy. Precisely why we ventured into the gloom for fuel extraction. The construction of said device has taken place in orbit of Pillin 5 in the Altus sector. It remains to be seen if it will prevent the destruction of Nublaria 1. One moment. We just received a high priority alert from High Command. Several Terminid hives of the Predator strain have breached Esker, Fenrir 3 and Crimsica. The strain has been multiplying its numbers as it is assaulting multiple planets at once. Emergency evacuations have begun across planets bordering the gloom. It is unclear if these are a reaction to Nivelle 43. We must buy as much time for our citizens to escape. Make best speed for the Terminate front. These outbreaks must be repulsed. Dismissed.
Initiating FTL jump.
The Illuminate is launching targeted attacks on strategic locations. As a reminder, Fenrir 3 is home to the Center of Science, a key location for our war efforts and scientific discoveries regarding E710 and the Meridian Singularity. It was previously attacked by the Terminate Predator strain and is now under Illuminate incursion. They haven't had time to recover, and that strain must still be contained unless it has runaway proliferation. The enemy's second planet of interest is Pillen 5, a once peaceful world in the Altus sector, where construction of the repulsive gravity field generator is underway. The planet is also under threat from the Meridian Singularity, but our priority is the Illuminate attack at our doorstep. Previously, Illuminate attacks occurred in seemingly random locations, with some recurrent targets to harvest dark energy and abduct citizens for conversion. This does present an opportunity during our defense. We've yet to understand how the Illuminate subjugates the minds of former citizens and mutates them into the hordes of voteless on the field. If we collect enough specimens for our scientists, we can unveil this process and perhaps even develop countermeasures against it. These attacks prove the enemy is aware of our actions. Our citizens and plans must be defended at all costs. Dismissed.
Hellpods primed.
Construction at Pillen 5 is on schedule. We successfully repelled the Illuminate from our strategic locations and have gathered enough voteless specimens to further our research into mind control. This is only to create countermeasures against the enemy's psychic capabilities. That's right, nothing more. In any case, the repulsive gravity field generator is almost complete. Soon, we will have the ability to stop the Meridian Singularity for good. The enemy is likely to increase its attacks on vital planets to our war effort. Succeeding in our planetary defense operations is key. But that's not all for this major order. We need to collect more A710, specifically from the Predator strain on Turing, to power the repulsive gravity field generator and liberate the planet. Securing Turing would give us full control over the Umlaut sector, and enable our scientists to return to the Xenoentomology Center. High Command is entrusting us with seeing it done. Dismissed.
Hellpods primed.
We received new instructions from High Command. During the previous major order, Illuminate forces focused their attacks on strategic locations, weakening our defenses on both fronts and providing our enemies with an opening. Among others, the following planets were attacked by the Illuminate: Mastia, Achenar Secundus, Claurel, and Fenrir 3. From those mentioned, only Fenrir 3 remains under our control, as Automaton and Terminate forces seized the opportunity. A hasty activation of an incomplete repulsive gravity field generator resulted in a rapid unscheduled disassembly as it imploded, unfortunately taking some of its brilliant operators with it. However, the Center of Science confirmed the Meridian Singularity coming to a full stop. The Illuminate is nowhere to be seen after these events. With that out of the way, these are our orders. We are to reclaim Bastia, Claurel, and Achenar Secundus after our enemies took advantage of the Illuminate's interference. Fenrir 3 and Turing must also remain under our control. Each of these planets is home to critical infrastructure for our war effort. There is also an advisory for increased specialized enemy unit activity, all while the galaxy wonders where the Illuminate has scurried off to. Glory to mankind.
Hellpods Prime.
We were unable to liberate all designated planets in time. Although we secured most of them, the automatons caused enough confusion to stop us from liberating Claurel. They now have full control of the Deep Mantle Forge complex. Again. I know some of you are interested in the upcoming celebrations on May 13th, but we have orders to fulfill. As we expected, enemy forces deployed their specialized units. The most recent arrival to the front is the Automaton Jet Brigade. As of this briefing, both theaters are seeing offensives spearheaded by these units. The Automaton Jet Brigade launched an offensive on Targe from Vernon Wells. In this case, we'd be better off defending Targe, as Vernon Wells would take a concerted effort to liberate it in its current state. Additionally, the Incineration Corps has 2 detachments. One is in Klasa, while the other is in Aesir Pass. These 2 detachments are likely to launch attacks of their own. Now to the Terminate front. The Predator strain is running rampant in the Orion sector, and they have a foothold on the Celeste sector with Slip. Currently, we are defending Fort Union from these mutated Terminates, and we have the opportunity to cut off their invasion by liberating Cirrus. Liberating that planet would open the way to Terran and provide us with another warp link to Astera, while completely stopping their offensive on Fort Union. It is also worth noting that Cirrus has an ongoing campaign, with significant progress, giving us a unique opportunity to turn the tide in the Orion sector. This brings me to the final point. High Command wants us to have a net positive in territorial gains. In other words, we have to liberate more planets than those we lose during the Major Order. Precise positioning and usage of the Democracy Space Station and its tactical actions will be pivotal in our success. The same can be said of our target choices and movements. For the glory of mankind. Dismissed.
Hellpods Prime.
The Singularity Party at Widow's Harbor is proceeding smoothly. Some of our forces have been tasked with security for the event. The Freedom Alliance is coordinating all operations on the planet, making sure there are no acts of dissent during festivities. To fulfill this goal, there are 3 designated task forces for you to join: Red, Orange, and Yellow. Each one has specific objectives for this operation. I am aware some of you were invited to the party, but couldn't make it. Stop by the ship's galley for a liquor ration once this is all over. They just got their hands on a new recipe and they're eager to try it. In any case, these fleets will... Where do they go? Run a full sensor sweep. An entire fleet couldn't have just vanished like that. There weren't any exercises either. Patch me into the emergency frequency.
This is an emergency message to all Alliance fleets from the 95th Helldiver Division. Corporal lasers! Onto their fucking ships! We brought them!
Emergency broadcast to Freedom Alliance fleet. 3 of our MCs have been damaged by Illuminate forces. We're taking heavy casualties.
Message received. Coast secure. Democracy is on its way.
They weren't eradicated, they were rallying. A message from what? Put it through. Okay. Our information is limited at this time. Intelligence from a downed defense satellite constellation has illuminate capital ships emerging from Meridian. That's all we could see before it went offline. High Command also just declared a state of extratyrannical emergency. The Illuminate's Vanguard fleet is beginning its attack here on Widow's Harbor. We also just received new combat projections. While they cannot be stopped, they can be slowed. We can buy Super Earth some time with our actions. Their objective is to launch a full-scale invasion of Super Earth. They have to go through Widow's Harbor and Pillin 5 first. Do what you can to coordinate amongst yourselves and the Freedom Alliance. The Illuminate's invasion fleet is here. Everybody help us. Go. I don't have any more details on the roster. Just get out there already!
Hellpods Prime.
We just received an emergency strategic update. Here's an in-mission briefing. High Command has declared Widow's Harbor as lost. You must withdraw to Pillin 5 immediately. Extract and jump to the Pillin system as soon as possible. The enemy is already on the ground, inflicting serious damage to our forces. The DSS was immediately engaged upon arrival. The station's remaining crew made an emergency jump to Claurel to preserve what's left of it. The station's casualties at Widow's Harbor were already significant. We're lucky it wasn't destroyed. The situation is dire enough we're deploying ceremonial guards to the field. That's how bad it is. Rendezvous with them and any other allied forces on Pillin 5. Good luck.
Pelican 1, I have visual on the extraction zone.
a sentry!
Pillin 5 is lost. I have new orders for you. We've issued a second retreat order, this time to the New Haven system. Abort any missions on Pillin 5 and transit to New Haven immediately. High Command also moved the Helldiver training program away from Mars in the Sol system. We've yet to see any impact on our replacement numbers. This is our final chance to make a dent in the Illuminate landing force. Buy as much time for High Command to keep fortifying the capital. We shall not flag or fail. We shall go on to the end.
Freedom never ends!
All hands, we're officially at Lipcon 1. Our strategic withdrawals in the Altus sector allowed our capital to prepare for the Illuminated invasion at our doorstep. Attrition predictions show a noticeable decrease in the enemy fleet's capabilities. During their ingress into the Sol system, enemy forces raised the surface of Mars. The loss of the planet resulted in Helldiver replacement shortages. We'll be undercrewed for the foreseeable future, but there is no time to grieve. The battle for Super Earth has begun. Unlike typical planetary operations, Super Earth's continents are divided into sectors. These host critical infrastructure and population centers in the form of megacities. Truly colossal feats of engineering and construction that require our protection. The capital has 7 such megacities. The Illuminate first landed their forces at Eagleopolis, near the pyramids of Super Earth in Sector 5. We are to deploy and coordinate with SEAF for evacuation and defense efforts. Keep an eye out for them upon arrival. The fate of managed democracy is in the balance. As long as one megacity stands, our way of life will prevail. We've faced insurmountable odds before, and we will do it as many times as it takes. Dismissed.
Today, we stand at the edge of annihilation. The skies are broken. Our fleets lie scattered before they set their alien feet upon the soul of humanity. They are going to learn what we are. Because they forget, we bring every creed, every cause, every coward turned brave, every stranger who threw themselves into hell for someone they'll never know. I will not promise survival. I will not promise victory. But I do promise this. Should we fall, it will not be quietly. We shall not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. We will rage against the dying of the light. Super Earth stands!
We are moving to the second phase of our defense. Although our resistance cost the enemy dearly, Eagleopolis has been lost. 6 megacities remain. Out of those, Remembrance, Equality on Sea, and Administrative Center 2 are under siege. Our strategy remains the same. Wear the enemy down through attrition. Only this time, we are not going for all-out casualties, but successful mission extractions. This is a battle won by meeting the Illuminate in the streets and fields, where our mettle and endurance are pushed to their limits. But let this fact reassure you. Over half of the enemy's forces have met their end in our colonies and our capital. Our task is not an easy one. Our enemy is well trained, well equipped, and battle hardened. He will fight savagely, and we will accept nothing less than full victory at Super Earth. Remember what they took from us. It's time to pay them back in full. Dismissed.
Launch initiated.
There has been a new development on the front. Relaying briefing now. Administrative Center 2 and Remembrance have fallen. Our forces are withdrawing from those megacities. This has put a strain on our planetary defense network, resulting in a shortage of orbital strike ordnance. Reload times will be longer. Likewise, our mission extraction times are affected by our ongoing losses. Any combat-capable units should deploy to Equality on Sea immediately. Due to these casualties, High Command has enacted Super Defense Protocol Sapphire, converting our last remaining rainforests into emergency air bases. At least our Eagles will have a faster turnaround. 4 megacities remain. We can't let them fall. Liberty guide you. The battle for Super Earth continues. In the last day, Illuminate forces have begun their assault on York Supreme and Port Mercy. Equality on Sea is still holding, but our forces are now spread across 3 megacities under siege. We're also nearing completion of our successful mission extraction quota. Unfortunately for us, High Command has issued a second major order. This new order calls for the scrapping of 200 million automatons for the next 3 days. The purpose of this resource is to complete repairs on the Democracy Space Station, which is still in Claurel orbit. I understand some of our fleet is specialized against automatons, But we must consider this before making a decision. Super Earth's defense, the battle for our capital, remains a top priority. The Major Order has less than a day left, and success would buy us time to shift focus towards repairing the DSS. Once restored, the station can support the ongoing eradication of the Illuminate's great host, of which roughly 30% remains. Alternatively, if we forgo the Major Order at Super Earth, we would be spreading our forces thin. Our megacities would be at risk of being overrun, but we'd get our station back sooner to push harder against the Illuminate. The decision falls upon you. Choose carefully. Dismissed.
Hellpods Prime.
We enter the third phase of our defense. Regrettably, we missed Super Earth's Major Order by a narrow margin. This could have been a significant blow against the Illuminate. Now, we'll have to commit more time and resources to get the enemy off our planet. The good news is that the enemy fleet's strength is estimated at 24%, and we continue to hold 4 megacities. We're on the home stretch now. Our objective this time around is to hold Super Earth. Granted, that has been in everyone's mind since the Illuminate made landfall. The only difference is that this comes straight from High Command. We must also remember that in a worst-case scenario, only one megacity has to survive the campaign. Prosperity City remains untouched, while the other 3 megacities continue to hold. Finally, whether we wanted it or not, the DSS is on schedule for an early recommissioning, and will hopefully join the battle for Super Earth. This is all that remains between our victory and the Great Host's destruction. May liberty guide our step. Dismissed.
Hellpods Prime.
York Supreme and Port Mercy have fallen. There's no time to brief you in orbit. Equality on Sea is our final bastion before we withdraw to Prosperity City. Our planetary defense network has a stable supply of orbital strike ordnance, normalizing reload times. Our Eagles also continue to make use of our emergency air bases. That's the good news. The flip side, 2 megacities have fallen, Helldiver ammunition combat loads are halved, stim capacity is also halved, reinforcement budgets are cut by 2, and 2 super defense protocols are in effect. The first one, codenamed Diamond, removes all collateral damage mitigation procedures, augmenting Helldiver loadouts with napalm barrages. The second one, codenamed Ruby, lifts any restrictions on super destroyer high-cost reserves. This also augments our loadouts, but with the fast recon vehicle. Continue the defense of Equality on Sea. The enemy is as desperate as we are. Wait. Incoming FTL from what? I'll give you more details on the radio.
Look what I found! It followed me home!
Pandera?
I brought you your miracle, just like I promised that I would.
The TSS is back. They did it.
Oh, and I brought a whole bunch of guys from the Western Front that want to come and help out too. You think there's room?
Ammunition combat loads and stim capacity are back to normal. We have an Eagle blockade for the planet. All units, blow the hell out of that fleet. This is what we've been waiting for. Illuminate forces have shifted their focus from equality on sea to Prosperity City. The enemy's order of battle has been reduced to only 11%. The enemy's final moments shall be spent in anger and turmoil. We've also received word from an engineer in Fort Union that has developed a malware capable of disabling Illuminate technology. They are under attack from the Terminate Predator strain, but this isn't stopping them from continuing their work. Helldivers have already redeployed to the Orion sector to defend the planet. We are once again on the verge of greatness. History will remember this day as our finest hour. Today there's not a citizen that shall stand alone. Today, we face the monsters that are at our door and bring the fight to them. Let's go! We've got a goddamn battle to end!
Hellpods Prime.
I have a new information package for you. Deploying now. Our forces at Fort Union were successful. The malware was uploaded to long-range communication satellites and transmitted to the Illuminate fleet. Enemy losses are estimated at 5%. This is the final push to defend our capital. However, the President of Super Earth made a final sacrifice to defend our way of life. Information is scarce, but the Minister of Defense is assuming emergency presidential authority. Be merciless. The Illuminate fleet retreated into unknown space. The battle for Super Earth is over. Citizens across the galaxy are celebrating. There's also an uptick on CO1 forms. I've lost time and time again, but now I've finally won. Even after the darkest nights, morning always comes. The path to rebuild will be long. Only 2 of our 7 megacities survived. But living this day to the fullest is the highest tribute we can offer in their memory. The Second Galactic War continues, of course. The Terminates, the Automatons, the Illuminate. They will certainly keep on fighting regardless. But today is a day which will live on for generations. You made this happen. Thank you. The Second Galactic War continues. While we were on our state-appointed victory celebrations and much-needed CO1 form fulfillment, automaton fleets identified weaknesses on our bordering planets. Due to the battle for Super Earth, defense garrisons were redeployed to the capital to plug our casualty rings. The automatons have launched 3 planetary invasions on the following systems: Varilia, Curia, and Zosma. Varilia 5 is of note due to the originating system for its attack. Coapesa 4 is reported to have low enemy resistance. We have an opportunity to liberate Coapesa and neutralize the enemy advance at its source. Meanwhile, Zosma reports sightings of the incineration core, making its defense efforts more difficult. Their planet of origin is also heavily guarded. High Command is estimating that 5 successful defenses will be enough to stop the automatons' opportunism. They will reel from our saber stroke, shattered and sundered. Dismissed.
Hellpods Prime.
We have good news from the capital. Reconstruction efforts are well underway, and planets raised by the Illuminate in their retreat are being reseeded. These 2 initiatives will take time, and they will likely require some form of our assistance in the future. Now, to more pressing matters. Illuminate remnants have been detected after the Ministry of Science reverse-engineered enemy wreckage from Super Earth. Enemy warp ships bend light around them through dark fluid, an exotic substance from the First Galactic War, which we used to collapse Meridia into a wormhole. By detecting gravitational fluctuations, we pinpointed the enemy's locations to the planets on your screens. We are still looking for more. These planets must be liberated as soon as possible. The Illuminate is trying to rebuild its fleet using these systems. Some names you will recognize as constant targets for enemy raids. The enemy somehow built shipyards in those systems and hid them from us. This rearmament must be stopped, and the enemy behind it destroyed. Dismissed.
Hellpods Prime.
I'll take care of my sandwich. I put some sauce in it too. Our hunt for the Illuminate is on hold. We failed to liberate 2 out of 4 planets in time. Unfortunately, we cannot continue that campaign as the Corpus sector is facing large Terminid outbreaks. There are reports of large cities under attack. This is the first time we've seen the Terminids targeting large population centers. Lessons from Super Earth will be valuable here. Siege garrisons are already engaged with the enemy. Much like the Western Front, most of these garrisons were depleted during the capital's defense. They won't last long without our help. Currently, there are 2 planets under attack, Crucible and Alta 5. Crucible is a tundra planet, home to 4 of our cities. The Terminids initially targeted Kshira Sagara. They'll undoubtedly target more cities if we allow them to gain any more ground. Meanwhile, the city of Unterwaten on Alta 5 is facing a major outbreak. Due to the planet being less developed than Crucible, we have less time to successfully defend it. Whether we prioritize it is finally up to you. The Terminids must not be allowed a foothold in the Corpus sector. It must remain under our control. Dismissed. I think I could use more sauce.
No, it's not about...
Hellpods Prime.
Alta 5 and Crucible endured the enemy. Our priorities have shifted to the planet Volterra and Inari. Volterra's town of Scarlet Haven is holding. Every time we succeed in defending it is a blow to the enemy's invasion force, demanding further resources from the enemy against our operations. However, Inari's situation is a concern. Due to its lack of urban development, our forces are not able to benefit from fortifications and infrastructure, unlike Volterra. The Predator strain is also present on Inari's surface, making matters worse. Considering the developing situation, we'll have to begin evaluating a liberation campaign of Inari and continue the defense of Volterra. It's less than ideal, unless we see a sudden surge in our numbers or the DSS has enough time to activate its Eagle Storm tactical action over Inari. The DSS could have also jumped to Veld to enact an orbital blockade, somehow stopping the Terminate offensive on Inari at its source, but it's too late for that now. We have to focus on planetary defense or prepare for liberation. The battle is still in our favor. Let's keep it that way. Dismissed.
Initiating FTL jump to.
We defended the Corpus sector and now turn to the Illuminate. 4 days ago, a deep space satellite was brought offline by enemy sabotage. This resulted in a loss of contact with multiple planets in the Akira, Ferris, Hanzo, and Omega sectors. As we bring the Super Earth Satellite Observation Network back online, we've re-established observation over these sectors, revealing the fate of our population centers there. The Illuminate disfigured our urban areas, repurposing them into assets for their rearmament after Super Earth. Worst of all, they did this without a license. High Command has declared these areas and their inhabitants compromised. We are tasked with liberating 2 planets in this major order. The bulk of our forces have chosen Alamac 7 as their first target. Once we liberate the Alamac system, we will move to Allier 3 and reclaim our cities from the Illuminate, extracting any surviving citizens and destroying Illuminate structures along the way. We've also received word about a cape commemorating the battle for Super Earth, beginning fleet-wide deliveries, and an increase in Helldiver numbers from formerly locked regions. Use these 2 elements to rally our forces against the Illuminate. Dismissed.
Initiating FTL jump to.
We have allowed the Illuminate to rebuild after our latest failure. We liberated Alamac 7 at great cost. Unfortunately, this resulted in Allier 3's liberation taking longer than the Major Order allowed. The enemy is seizing this opportunity to expand their domain in the Galactic South. Now then, to matters of intergalactic law. The reconstruction at Super Earth continues, and as expected, we are called upon to aid it. It is a principle of intergalactic law that the reparation of a wrong may consist in an indemnity corresponding to the damage which the nationals of the injured state have suffered as a result to the act contrary to intergalactic law. This is a principle dating back to pre-democratic times in 1928. Simply put, the Illuminate is responsible for the damage to Super Earth. They did not make any motion to compensate for damages to uphold intergalactic order. Now we are sent in to man that wrong. Our orders are to recover technology and material from 290 million neutralized Illuminate. The Terminates were also found guilty of enabling the attack on our capital, so we will be collecting E710 in the form of 2.9 billion specimens as well. The democratic intergalactic order must be upheld. Dismissed.
jump to.
I think some of you will like this one. We have news from the Terminate front. The battle for Nublaria 1 in the Celeste sector has taken a positive turn after our success at Crockett 2. This has also resulted in securing more E-710 than previously expected, so our goals for the Major Order have been adjusted. Although the Predator strain is still present on Nublaria 1, they have been cut off from any neighboring hives. The enemy is now surrounded from all sides and is suffering for it. They have no means to rejoin the Terminate lines. They are facing an encirclement. Encirclements are an outcome of offensive operations or the isolation of friendly forces. One force must lose its freedom of maneuver because the enemy controls all lines of communication and reinforcement. This is what we have done. The Terminates of Nublaria 1 have no other choice but to fight a losing battle to the end. We must press our advantage and secure the planet post-haste. The fight at Allier 3 rages on as well, and we are ahead of schedule to complete the Illuminate portion of the Major Order. There is one more thing to cover. It's been a year since we saved the children at Vernon Wells. Now we can do it again. The Freedom Alliance has partnered with High Command and saved the children for an intergalactic charity drive. Whether it is through currency donations or auction bidding on unique equipment, we will make a difference and embolden the future of humanity. Alternatively, you can divulge this event amongst yourselves. Coordinate efforts with the Freedom Alliance to aid the event from the front lines. The future of humanity is counting on us. Dismissed.
Hellpods primed.
We have confirmed the launch of an automaton offensive. Distress signals from Bekvam 3 and Korea are coming in. The Nanos and Marspira sectors are once again under threat. Upon initial contact, we've confirmed the automaton jet brigade is spearheading both attacks. It is possible the enemy has new combat capabilities. The only way to be sure about this is by meeting them on the field. This is where you come in. You will be facing this improved jet brigade head-on while defending our colonies. Gather as much information on them as possible so we can adjust tactics and better coordinate the defense. High Command is expecting at least 4 successful planetary defenses. We must also consider that even if our planets fall, any blow to the jet brigade's fleets will result in a weaker follow-up attack. Don't lose hope. Finally, the Freedom Alliance's partnership with Save the Children is set to conclude on the 28th of this month. The charity drive is exceeding expectations, and it's all thanks to everyone's efforts. We will defend our colonies and humanity's future at any cost. Dismissed.
Hellpods primed.
We will now aid in the construction of a new training center. We've needed new Helldiver training grounds after the razing of Mars. With this in mind, our government has passed the Freedom to Serve Act. This will augment the Helldiver Corps with mandatory volunteer recruitment and a fresh batch of super destroyers. High Command has chosen Zegema Paradise in the Kelvin sector for new training facilities in preparation for this recruit influx. The success of this initiative depends on the complete liberation of 2 planets in the Eastern Front, Garharin and Gotria in the Jinshi sector. These names will be familiar to some of you, and I'm sure you'll agree it's time to reclaim them. Liberating both planets will result in the isolation of Grand Errant and Ferkat Secundus in the Farsight sector, just south of Jinshi. We can set the stage for an encirclement here. Regardless, liberation is one thing, Securing specimens and samples to raise Terminids is the second part of our objective. These will ensure a stable supply of targets for our recruits during training. There is much to be done before their arrival. Dismissed.
Hellpods primed.
The reconstruction of Super Earth continues. The capital's efforts are being directed towards Remembrance in Sector 6. This megacity holds deep historical and cultural significance, hence its name. During the battle for Super Earth, Remembrance was one of the Illuminates' initial targets. The ensuing battle destroyed the megacity as our forces executed a withdrawal to exhaust the Illuminates' great host. With its strategic role fulfilled, the megacity's ruins remained untouched until the battle was won and we began cleanup efforts. Now, Remembrance is scheduled for restoration. The resources for this endeavor will be procured by none other than us. The current major order calls for the following planets to be under our control: Errata Prime, Veld, Slith, New Stockholm, and Valmox. Currently, Errata Prime's defense could benefit from securing Old Kemler, as Veld's liberation campaign is seeing some progress after the liberation of Cle Elumbre Diviva. Slith's liberation could begin after we finish the other two planets. On the Illuminate front, we must be ready to defend New Stockholm from any Illuminate planets connected to it. Meanwhile, we have an opportunity to further secure Valmox by successfully defending Afoyai Bay in the Galax sector. Correct positioning and usage of the DSS will increase our chances of success. Finally, it is good to remember that operations are comprised of 3 different missions that must be completed. 5 million successful operations are required for this major order. Make sure to complete those mission chains entirely. This is a daunting task that requires our full attention. Glory to mankind. Dismissed.
Initiating FTL jump 2.
We are approaching the final stages of the major order. 4 out of 5 planets are under our control. With the latest liberation of Veld, Terminate forces at Slith were encircled, creating an opportunity for our forces to siege the planet. Now we have less than 2 days remaining to liberate New Stockholm, as we failed to defend it a few days ago. Completed operation requirements were also adjusted. High Command realized it was going to be difficult to achieve 5 million operations. Instead, our objective has been lowered by 50%. To compensate for lower resource procurement, High Command and AM Defense have struck an agreement. AM Defense's factory hub at Achenar Secundus will repurpose steel and concrete reserves to rebuild Remembrance. The surge of activity on the planet drew the attention of the Terminids, but they were repelled by our forces. Realistically, all that remains to ensure our success is to liberate New Stockholm in the Hansa sector. If we succeed at Afoyai Bay for a second time, that will be a bonus to keep Valmox safe from the Illuminate. This is the final push for this major order. Dismissed.
Launch initiated.
The Ministry of Intelligence has issued an alert. Automaton fleets have invaded the Trigon, Nanos, and Tennis sectors. Although the targets are densely populated planets, the Ministry of Intelligence is certain of the enemy's objective. key infrastructure related to the Democracy space station. As of this briefing, the Deep Mental Forge complex on Claurel is under attack. This facility was critical to the station's construction and upgrades. It was later instrumental in emergency repairs during the battle for Super Earth. Throughout the war, it has faced numerous incursions from the automatons, even one from the Illuminate. The strategic importance of Claurel cannot be understated. 2 other planets are now on alert, Helldivers and Tarsh. Helldivers was one of 2 planets with a magnetosphere strong enough for the station's construction in orbit. This is where our first weapon of mass liberation took shape. Meanwhile, the DSS logistics hub on Tarsh was key to coordinating construction. Although the facility was destroyed months ago during automaton occupation, the planet remains strategically important for its polystyrene foam production, a key component in our napalm. It should be defended. Unconfirmed reports suggest a new automaton unit on the field as well. Proceed with caution if encountered and report any findings. That is all. Dismissed.
Launch initiated.
I'll be issuing you an update on the major order. We failed die Sonderentschlüsselungsaufklärungsoperation at Oasis. We were unable to decrypt any intel on automaton fleet movements or objectives, and we lost the planet in the process. Tarsh was successfully defended, but the automatons launched 2 offensives on Helldivers and a second attack on Claurel. To make matters worse, they deployed 2 fleets from the incineration core. We now have to defend both planets from an enemy with new, specialized units. The DSS is active on Helldivers. We made some progress by securing Vatya. Our forces are split between defending the megacity Malmberget and completing operations across the planet. Securing the city is critical to success, but we're running out of time. As for Claurel, there's more time to defend it, roughly 40 hours. But enemy presence is stronger than on Helldivers. The good news is the Ministry of Science has deployed a new control group equipped with experimental technology. They could prove useful, provided the equipment is accurate and doesn't explode in our hands. We must continue the fight, regardless of our losses. Dismissed.
Launch initiated.
Claurel was lost to the automatons. Although we reclaimed Helldivers, the Deep Mental Forge complex is a significant loss. We're also aware of another reason for the latest automaton offensive. Retribution for their humiliation at Court Bay nearly 6 months ago. It's been haunting them ever since. Now, to the current major order. Our citizens have increasing concerns over invasion, loss of property, and fatality. This is due to constant exposure to distressing images of burning cities and widespread suffering on news channels. Our citizens are having nightmares about it. In response to the situation, our government has approved the construction of maximum security cities. These will be urban settlements with the latest on surveillance and, hopefully, defense. 3 planets have been chosen for pilot cities: Fort Union, Fort Sanctuary, and the Mary. As far as we're concerned, take a look at the list on screen. I know it's a lot. The purpose of eliminating so many heavy units is to support a public relations campaign. Its objective is to reinforce our citizens' belief in our capability to defend them. This is also an opportunity to double our efforts at retaking Claurel, Asher 3, and Oasis. Liberating these planets would increase our forces' morale throughout the week. The mind is as much of a battlefield as the front lines. Dismissed. We have news from Achenar Secundus and Terran. Our Alcubierre drives are affected by gloom spores at high temperatures, resulting in catastrophic failures. AM Defense's factory hub and the Xenoentomology Center on Turing claim that a new synthetic polymer, based on a protein found in terminate exoskeletons, is key to effective shielding. It's why the gloom remains off limits to this day. This region of space has been inaccessible for months. We can only explore it when spore concentrations are low enough to access. 2 terminate strains have also originated from it, the Predator and Spore Burst strains. We spotted the latter outside the gloom for the first time today. These are mutated terminates with pale coloring that violently explode upon death, leaving a toxic spore cloud behind. They're currently attacking Akamar 4, which takes us to our objectives for this major order. We need to defend Achenar Secundus and Terran to continue developing this new spore shielding. We must also gather 30 million rare samples, specifically from the Jinshi sector, as we're expecting the Spore Burst strain to focus their movements there. Success in this operation would grant us further access to the gloom. Dismissed.
Initiating FTL jump to
Development of our maximum security cities is on schedule. Fort Union and Fort Sanctuary are far enough away from the front lines, but Emeria is of concern. Only one planet stands between it and Dumatir, currently under automaton control. High Command has issued the liberation of the Nanos sector as our top priority to secure the prototype city on Emeria. We're currently focusing on the liberation of Dumatir. Once that's done, we'll have to choose between Julheim and Begvim 3. Both of these planets have large population centers, so that's something to consider. There's also one more thing. I don't know who authorized this, but we're also expected to eliminate 2.5 million automaton conscripts with the orbital rail cannon strike. The stratagem sees a lot of use against heavy units, and the cooldown is substantial. So I'm not sure what the goal here is besides proving some kind of point. Unless we get an upgrade to the stratagem's reload time, it's going to be a difficult objective to achieve. That is all. Dismissed.
launch initiated.
We've been tasked with aiding the construction of a second tyranny park. The first one was part of a larger Terminate research preserve on Akamar 4. Its purpose was to attract private capital to E710 and Terminate R&D. The planet has been a recurrent location in the Eastern Front. It's currently under our control, but there's nothing left of Tyranny Park. The sequel to this facility builds upon the lessons of Akamar through safety, size, and profitability. Once again, its purpose is to incentivize investment and influence public opinion through tourism and education. Our contribution to this endeavor is as follows. Boar Rock is our point of entry into the Falstaff sector. The planet has been chosen for the construction of Tyranny Park 2 and must be liberated. We must eliminate a significant number of Titan-class units, in addition to collecting common and rare samples. We also have a strategic opportunity. Due to a surplus of Helldivers from Segima Paradise, High Command has authorized the expansion of the Super Destroyer fleet. This move requires a larger supply of V710, so we'll be needing a new Terminate farm. The Helldiver Corps has been tasked with the liberation of Crimsica in the Draco sector to build this facility and acquire more E710. Much like Tyranny Park 2, this facility will have improved safety measures with automatic nuclear devices that will arm upon containment breach. We stand on the shoulders of geniuses to accomplish something as fast as we can. Dismissed.
Launch initiated.
High Command has declared a state of high alert. Multiple planets are facing significant Terminate outbreaks. The Center of Science theorizes the Terminates are undergoing a population explosion, resulting in historically high spore ejections from the gloom. It is unclear if the gloom itself is expanding. The following planets are under attack: Achenar Secundus, Turing, Fenrir 3, and Dorada Prime. The first three planets are home to facilities and infrastructure critical to the war effort. We're currently prioritizing Fenrir 3 and its Center of Science. Our goal is to eliminate 6 billion Terminates to exhaust their advance. On an unrelated note, we intercepted an unknown transmission last week. We're not quite sure of its origin, but we are checking. And now I have to lug 2 sacks of E710 coke somewhere. Dismissed.
Launch initiated.
A second major order has reached the Helldiver core. We also have an update on the Eastern Front. Fenrir 3's Center of Science is secure, while Achenar Secundus and Turing have fallen. Losing AM Defense's factory hub has affected our FRV supply lines for at least 48 hours. Meanwhile, the loss of the Xenoentomology Center has led to exponential growth in Turing's hunter population. That might become a problem for the planet's liberation. Regardless, we need to go over the second major order. Commander Rod, good to have you with us once more.
We've come a long way from Super Earth. The automatons and their frigid calculations think they can take our planets with ease as we contain the Terminates. We will prove them wrong. The enemy seeks to conquer Charon Prime, Uline, and Mort, not from multiple vectors, but a single planet of origin, Charbal 7. The DSS's heavy ordnance distribution will soon come online, supporting our liberation of Charbal's acidic badlands. This is an opportunity we cannot ignore. With the DSS at our backs and a concerted effort from our fleets, we can deal a significant blow to the automatons while pushing the war theater westward.
Charbal 7 is the key to prevent our front lines from collapsing. You know the music. Time to dance. Dismissed.
Initiating FTL jump 2.
Grafmir and Parsh are under attack by the Illuminate. Millions of citizens are at risk of being converted into voteless or abhorrent atrocities of flesh. In response to this, High Command has issued a third major order. Not only do we have to cull the Terminates and outmaneuver the automatons at Charbal 7, now we have to eradicate 1 billion Illuminate to weaken their offensive as well. Our forces are spread thin, and our supply lines are under severe strain. The losses we will incur in an attempt to stop all 3 major offensives are of disastrous magnitude. To counteract this, High Command has accelerated Super Destroyer fitting out and deployment. They're scheduled to arrive in 96 hours. The best we can do in this situation is to continue wearing the enemy down and minimize our territorial losses as much as possible, regardless of what the enemy throws at us. Cannon to right of them, cannon to left of them, cannon in front of them. That's the truth of the Second Galactic War. Navy's getting its butt kicked, and so are we. Dismissed.
Hellpods primed.
This is a Warfront update for any forces on this channel. On the Eastern Front, Veld was successfully defended. Now we shift our focus to Ursica 11 in the Porgus sector. Securing both of these planets will open the way for Achenar Secundus and Turing's potential liberation. We've also detected a significant increase of Impalers on Ursica. Meanwhile, the battle in the Southern Front is taking a turn for the worse. Our forces at Harsh and Grafmere won't last long, while the Illuminate are expanding into the Gallic sector. The citizens we've failed to save will surely be turned against us, one way or another. There is some progress in the Western Front at least. Charbal 7's Gambit was a partial success, but we're estimating to lose Kuria by the end of the day. Once it falls, the automatons will be one planet away from Emeria and its maximum security city, New Aspiration. A fresh jet brigade is also present on this planet, so we have to wear them down as well. The automatons also cyber-attacked the DSS, depressurizing its Eagle convocation base and ejecting ground crew into the vacuum of space. Repair crews estimate 3 days to bring them back online. Reinforcements arrive in 72 hours, stormed at with shot and shell. Boldly we dive, and well, dismissed.
Hellpods primed.
This is a second Warfront update for our forces. Our current situation is grim. Starting on the Eastern Front, Ursica 11 has fallen. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. We will remember them. It is unclear at this time if the Terminates will continue their expansion. What we do know is that something's happening at Boar Rock, but nothing's been confirmed yet. The Southern Front continues to deteriorate. The Illuminate continue their onslaught on the Richter sector and have launched offensives into the Morgan and Kenkri sectors. Fort Sanctuary's maximum security city will be in danger if we don't put a stop to the Illuminate's advance. Now to the Western Front. We lost Kuria, as predicted. Now the Jet Brigade is invading Fenmire. We were expecting them to take the path of least resistance to Emeria, but it seems they're looking to deny us the Merspira sector completely. The Incineration Corps has also made an appearance. 2 of their fleets are attacking Bekvan 3 and Tarsh. The latter is the most concerning at this time, as Mostia and its Center for Citizen Surveillance are within reach. Reinforcements are 48 hours away. Super Earth expects every Helldiver to do their duty. Dismissed.
Hellpods primed.
Another day, another update. I hope you don't mind the rain. Someone hacked into the PA and left that on loop. In any case, the Terminates recently invaded Inari in the Corpus sector. Much like Ursica 11, there's a spike in Impaler numbers. The majority of the Corps is present on the planet, so we are set to win the defense. High Command has also authorized a reinforcement budget expansion for the next 48 hours. That's as far as the good news go. The Southern Front is still collapsing. We lost Effluvia, while Kurt Secundus and Miriam will soon share that fate. It's likely the Illuminate will continue their expansion into the Morgan and Kenkri sectors, so Fort Sanctuary is in tangible danger. The Western Front isn't doing any better either. Fenmire is lost, while Tarsh and Bekvam 3 are overrun. We believe the Jet Brigade will mobilize once more in the coming hours. Only one day remains before reinforcements arrive. We cheat death from his rightful victory. Dismissed.
Hellpods primed.
Our reinforcements are here. Newly built super destroyers are finally authorized for frontline deployment. They bring with them the obedient democracy support troopers and new weaponry from a certain Martian armory. They are green and very, very mean. I'm sure they will be as capable as the rest of the Corps. Now then, let's bring these new recruits up to speed. We're currently engaged in a major order of attrition. We must wear down enemy forces until they're unable to maintain their attacks. The Terminate Horde is on the eastern front. These vicious, rapidly evolving life forms are processed into E710, a strategic resource and fuel. Their hives are currently attacking Veld in the Orion sector and Gatria in the Jinshi sector. Veld should be prioritized as it is closer to Fort Union, a planet holding our flagship maximum security city, New Hope. On the southern front, we have the Illuminate Cult, an ancient civilization once thought to be purged from the galaxy. They are responsible for destroying multiple planets and invading Super Earth. They are currently expanding in the Morgan and Kenkri sectors and threaten the invasion of Fort Sanctuary's maximum security city, New Yearning. Finally, the western front is currently fighting the Automaton Legion. These are robotic beings with socialist ideals that sought to reclaim Cyberstan, their forebearers' homeworld. They've been expanding ever since and have constantly deployed new war machines to the front. Two of their specialized units, the Jet Brigade and Incineration Corps, are closing in on the planet Emeria and its maximum security city, New Aspiration. We've been doing what we can with strained supply lines and Helldiver numbers. Now, we have the chance to stop our enemies in their tracks. In times like these, it pays to be the strong, silent type. Dismissed.
Hellpods primed.
We just received concerning status reports from Boar Rock. I'll make the Warfront update brief. The southern front is collapsing. Our reinforcements revitalized the defense of Seychelles Beach, and the DSS's Eagle Storm tactical action is also coming online. That should buy both Seychelles Beach and Fort Sanctuary some time, as long as the DSS stays there. The Jet Brigade is still stationed on Barabos, while the Incineration Corps is pushing Borea with little resistance. It's only a matter of time for the Battle of Emeria to begin. Now to the eastern front. Boar Rock was previously chosen for the construction of an edutainment facility, Tyranny Part 2. It attracted some tourists and investment, but its Charger Behemoth exhibit experienced a malfunction. The planet is now suffering a spore burst strain outbreak, while the Predator strain escaped to Terra. All is not lost, however. We must focus our efforts on Boar Rock instead of Terra to secure Tyranny Part 2 and extinguish the Predator strain's attack at its source. If we focus on Terra alone, we will lose Boar Rock and risk the Predator strain overrunning the sector. This would give the Terminates a beachhead in the Orion sector and an opportunity to push for Fort Union's maximum security city. We cannot allow that to happen. It's time for the new arrivals to prove themselves. Dismissed.
Hellpods primed.
We have new developments on the front. Emeria's maximum security city, New Aspiration, is under attack by the Automaton Jet Brigade. Damage from the attacks is extended throughout the city. Our estimates show the planet will be overrun in less than 24 hours. The key to victory is securing new aspiration, as that will guarantee our planetary dominance over the automatons. It's unclear if the Incineration Corps will jump to Emeria to fight alongside the Jet Brigade, or if they'll launch a second offensive should the first one fail. We'll continue to monitor the situation. In any case, this should result in sufficient enemy losses to complete the Automaton Major Order at this time. Now, a brief overview of the Eastern Front. The Gambit at Boar Rock has failed. We could have used the DSS's Eagle Storm tactical action on Terek to buy Boar Rock's liberation more time. Unfortunately, we decided to keep the DSS in Boar Rock's orbit. Now we're paying the price by losing 2 planets and leaving the Orion sector wide open. There is some good news from the Southern Front at least. Our latest fleet augmentation resulted in remarkable progress for the Illuminate Major Order. By eliminating 1 billion Illuminate, we've exhausted the enemy's offensive. The enemy still claimed large portions of our territory, so that must be addressed. It's time for us to dance with the angels. Dismissed.
Launch initiated.
We're engaged with the Incineration Corps on Emeria. We successfully defended New Aspiration from the Jet Brigade. Only 1 hour after the battle, the Incineration Corps began its invasion. We didn't have much time to rest, but this attack was expected. They are in much better shape than the Jet Brigade, however. The battle against them will be longer and will require a stronger defense from our part. We've dealt with situations like this in the past, so it's only a matter of bringing our reinforcements up to speed. That takes me to this next point. The Freedom Alliance is coordinating efforts for experienced ship crews and Helldivers to aid and guide the new arrivals. This latest operation is aptly named Welcome to Hell, and will run until the 31st of this month. The Corps as a whole is also welcoming these newcomers as best it can, of course. Let's keep that going. Finally, the Eastern Front saw the Terminate Horde plunging deeper into the Orion sector. High Command issued another dispatch for a defense gambit, this time on Terek, but it's not looking good. It's only a matter of time until Cirrus and Astera fall. That will leave Fort Union vulnerable to attack. We must be ready to defend it on a moment's notice. May the heart of democracy smile upon us. Dismissed.
Launch initiated.
The Terminates have made their move. After 2 failed defense gambits, Fort Union and its cities are under attack. As a reminder, Fort Union is home to our flagship maximum security city and core of our defense, New Hope. We've also secured one of its 3 other regions so far. We're holding the line, but the situation can deteriorate at any moment. The Predator strain also launched an attack on Sulfura in the Celeste sector. As we focus our efforts on Fort Union, the Terminates are applying pressure elsewhere to gain territory and further compromise our front lines. Meanwhile, Emeria's defense is set to succeed against the Incineration Corps by securing New Aspiration. We've neutralized sufficient automaton forces to complete the Western Front's major order, so we're not expecting any further offensives from the enemy. 2 maximum security cities and the Eastern Front's major order depend on our success. We can't let them fail. Dismissed.
Hellpods primed.
We just received a new major order. High Command has authorized a new offensive into the gloom, codenamed Operation Righteous Reclamation. We believe the most recent Terminate offensive motivated the other 2 fronts to launch attacks of their own. The only tangible solution is to eradicate the gloom. All super destroyers, both new and old, have been refitted with gloom shielding on all FTL systems. The DSS doesn't have this technology yet, so we'll have to make do without it. This is the legacy Achenar Secundus and Turing heralded in. Now is our opportunity to go on the offensive and avenge what we've lost. 3 planets have been identified as suitable points of entry into the gloom. Nivelle 43, Fori Prime, and Hellmire. Nivelle 43 is currently inaccessible, as we lost Dorada Prime during the 3-front crisis. Fori Prime is connected to friendly planets in the Draco and Jinxi sectors, but they're currently isolated from our front lines after the fall of Turn. High Command also believes there is a source of gloom spores somewhere in the Mirren sector, and it is of great interest for scientific study. That leaves Hellmire as the most viable option for a forward operating base. This planet is infamous for its nightmarish environment and long, arduous campaigns during the opening stages of the Second Galactic War. It's time to return to Hellmire once more. Half a league onward. Dismissed.
Initiating FTL jump 2.
Operation Righteous Reclamation has entered its second phase. The liberation of Hellmire and the construction of a forward operating base, known as Outpost Alpha, have paved the way for further expansion into the gloom. Spore flow readings and geological scans from our new outpost indicate Oshaune is the gloom source we've been looking for. We understand the planet has undergone a radical transformation, both on the surface and underground. Our scientists believe Oshaune's infestation has advanced enough that it has become a single hive across the planet. Because of this, High Command has classified Oshaune as a hive world. This is a new classification for a biome and ecosystem we've yet to understand. Our current mission is vital. We must conduct initial reconnaissance and gather samples to study Oshaune's transformation. Once we have enough information at our disposal, we can devise a strategy to purge this hive world and reclaim it. Brace yourselves. We are about to discover what horrors lie within. 'Twas Brillig and the slithy toes, did Gyre and Gimble in the wave. All Mimsy were the Borogoves, and the Mome rods outbrave. Dismissed.
Launch initiated.
Oshaune's expedition is stalling. We've encountered stronger enemy resistance than expected. Combined with the unfamiliarity of the planet's cave systems, we're suffering higher attrition and operational failure rates than predicted. The depths and sands of Oshaune have welcomed us with burrowing claws in the newly discovered rupture strain, and massive creatures that fly and make the ground quake. In an attempt to counteract this, High Command has deployed the Dust Devils. These are Helldivers specialized in combat under harsh conditions. Their skill sets will prove invaluable during our efforts to eradicate the gloom. We've also discovered a new substance, similar to E710 on Oshaune. Scientists have coined it E711, and further extraction of this compound will be pivotal to its research. That is, if we can maintain the offensive. The Terminate Horde has emerged in Hellmire once more. Only this time, it's not only the Sporeburst strain. One of Oshaune's abominations has also made landfall on Outpost Alpha, the Dragon Roach. This winged creature has proven difficult to deal with due to its tenacity, durability, and numbers on the field. Its known weak points are the head and wings. We are still developing counter-tactics in blood. The silver lining is that gloom spore concentrations have sufficiently diminished on Hellmire, allowing the DSS to provide defensive support. Losing Hellmire would immediately cut us off from our efforts at Oshaune. Beware the Dragon Roach, Helldivers. The wings that slice, the fires that catch. Dismissed.
Initiating FTL jump 2.
Operation Righteous Reclamation continues. Despite losing 216 million Helldivers on Oshauna, the way to this hive world remains clear through Hellmire. However, we must focus our efforts on stopping a second expansion of the Gloom. 2 planets are currently under attack, Crimsica in the Draco sector and Gakrux in the Jinshi sector. These 2 planets are part of the Draco-Jinshi pocket that has been holding out for some time now after the fall of Turing. It seems the Terminids are closing in for the kill. Crimsica is definitely facing the brunt of the Terminid offensive. We've detected dragon roaches on the planet, and the core is prioritizing its defense. We estimate there is more time to secure this planet and its cities, one of which is known as 2. Gakrux, meanwhile, is facing the rupture strain. Although it's facing a lower invasion level, the planet is likely to fall in a shorter amount of time than Crimsica. There is no key infrastructure on the surface, making the defense straightforward if we can rally enough of our forces to it. It's unlikely we'll halt the enemy entirely on these 2 planets. Wearing the enemy down is a song we're all too familiar with. High Command estimates that 7 successful defenses will break the Terminid offensive, and with it, frustrate the expansion of the Gloom. We have a rendezvous with death at some disputed barricade. Dismissed.
Initiating FTL jump 2.
We have an update from the Eastern Front. By securing Crimsica, we diminished the enemy's offensive capabilities in the Draco-Jinshi pocket. Unfortunately, Gakrux did not share the same fate. The Gakrux system is now saturated with low-intensity gloom spores. If we don't act now, the gloom will gain momentum and consolidate its territorial gain in the Jinshi sector. Worst case scenario, the planet could pave the way for more hive worlds. We cannot let that happen. High Command has issued a minor order. Gakrux must be liberated and cleansed of Terminid infestation within the next 2 days. The longer we take to reclaim the planet, the more enemy resistance and gloom density will increase. Akamar 4 is also under attack by Gakrux's rupture strain. If we manage to liberate Gakrux before Akamar 4 falls, not only will we fend off the gloom, but we will prevent the further collapse of the Draco-Jinshi pocket. In the fell clutch of circumstance, we will not wince nor cry aloud. Dismissed.
Initiating FTL jump 2.
The Gakrux Gambit was a decisive success. Not only did we push back the gloom and secure Akamar 4, but we also neutralized the rupture strain's efforts to invade Pandion 24. This restored the Draco-Jinshi pocket to its original state at the start of the Major Order. Elsewhere, our forces at Terek in the Orion sector are making steady progress to liberate the planet. Projections indicate that it will be under our control within 3 days. Its liberation would encircle Cirrus, giving us the upper hand for complete sector control. However, our main focus remains on the Major Order and successful defenses. The Terminids of Oshauna are attacking Hellmire once more. We confirmed sightings of the Predator strain alongside significant subterranean disruptions. The Hive Lords have emerged from the gloom for the very first time. Securing Hellmire's Outpost Alpha is our top priority. Losing Hellmire would deny us further research on Hiveworld Oshaune and Element 711, the latter of which has been successfully synthesized into dark fluid. 4 successful defenses remain. Completion is in sight. Dismissed.
Hellpods Prime.
We have a new major order, but first, a Warfront update. Terek's liberation resulted in Cirrus's encirclement. The Terminates on that planet face inevitable defeat as liberation continues. This will result in complete control of the Orion sector. On the Illuminate front, the battle for Seychelles Beach continues after the liberation of New Alexandria on the 14th. We estimate it will be liberated within the next few days. Which brings us to the current major order. Hellmire and Outpost Alpha stand after last week's attacks, albeit with extensive damage. We intercepted automaton communications concerning a mining operation on Mintoria in the Gellert sector. Mintoria's importance cannot be understated. The subsurface infrastructure there is critical to Outpost Alpha's repairs and expansion into an underground complex. This is leak technology, originally developed by Super Earth's mining sector, and must be reclaimed. We've been ordered to carve a path to Mintoria's ultramafic mine. This means we must plunge through the Tanis sector to reach it. Clausa's liberation will encircle Demiurge, cutting it off from automaton supply lines and making it a prime target for liberation once the major order is complete. Splitting our forces after Clausa would be unwise, as we must continue our northern push to Mintoria through the Zephyr system. Success in this operation secures our technology, encircles Demiurge, and benefits the Great Expedition into the gloom. Dismissed.
Hellpods Prime.
The Democracy space station is scheduled for additional upgrades. High Command believes that refitting the DSS will aid in the future liberation of Hiveworld Oshaune. This upgrade package is designed to enable the station to traverse the gloom and provide operational support. One of the package's key components is to apply 5 layers of a gloom-resistant polymer, previously deployed to all super destroyers. Its application is time-consuming, unless it is under specific gravitational and atmospheric conditions. With all of this in mind, we have identified a planet that allows this procedure, Carlia in the Omega sector. This planet is deep within Illuminate territory. We will perform a breakout in the Eero New Stockholm pocket to reach it. 3 planets are candidates for a breakthrough, but Alamac 7 is the most favorable. The liberation of the Alamac system will grant us access to Alarath in the Akira sector. Once that planet is ours, we will have the option of either attacking or encircling Carlia by liberating Hydrobius. Securing Alarath and Hydrobius will isolate Carlia and establish the defensive perimeter needed to protect the DSS during its refit. This makes Carlia's initial encirclement all the more appealing. Without Carlia, the DSS cannot be upgraded, so its liberation and future safekeeping are vital. Finally, Hellmire's Outpost Alpha must also remain under our control to keep the path to Oshaune open and allow its upgrade into a larger underground complex. There is much to be done. Dismissed.
Hellpods primed.
We've received an automaton major order. Further investigation at Mintoria's Ultramafic mine has yielded strategic information regarding two data caches. One is on Men Kent, while the other is on Aesir Pass. We believe these two caches contain valuable encryption keys that will decipher a portion of Database 1. This was an automaton data center that was uncovered in the wake of Meridia's destruction. This turned the Terminate super colony into the singularity we know today. In any case, this database was located in the Wasat system and was subsequently liberated. The sheer scale and complexity of the information held within is yet to be fully decrypted. Numerous keywords are frequently mentioned: Vessel 00, Nucleus, and the Final Collective, among others. The terraforming of Cyberstan also makes an appearance. The first two are relevant for this major order. Men Kent's data cache makes references to Vessel 00, while Aesir Pass does the same for Nucleus. Realistically, we can only liberate one of these two planets, as the automatons will wipe one cache if another is compromised. Men Kent is the most logical, as we only need to liberate Lasath to reach it. This would also result in Val Sajad's encirclement, a favorable outcome with less time to lose. Nevertheless, the Helldivers believe it's best to take a different approach. We are currently liberating Tarsh, a planet with higher enemy resistance than Lasath. The incineration core is also present and hasn't moved since the Freefront crisis. Tarsh does have planetary settlements, so that could play in our favor, but the same can be said about Lasath. Upon Tarsh's liberation, we will then attack Vernon Wells and come to a crossroads. We will have to choose between Aesir Pass and Men Kent, potentially splitting our forces. The meaning of these keywords is yet to be ascertained. For months, we've only been able to speculate. Accessing one of these data caches will probably change that. Dismissed.
Hellpods Prime.
We've once again detected space-time disruptions. The Ministry of Science is monitoring the situation around certain illuminate structures that predate the First Galactic War. These sites were preserved for study, and citizens were allowed access for educational purposes. That is, until we detected these disruptions that are similar to those found in the vicinity of the Meridian Singularity. Ground-penetrating radar scans reveal that these structures extend several meters underground. They have since been restricted, and the Ministry of Science has begun excavations. We've yet to determine the true purpose of these sites. High Command believes they are for propagandistic purposes. To further our investigation, we've been ordered to liberate Allier 3, Herthon Secundus, and Zea Rugosia. These planets harbor similar sites to those previously explained. Controlling these planets will aid the Ministry of Science in determining the cause of these space-time disruptions. We will first liberate Allier 3 in the Hanso sector, then make our way to the Ferris sector to liberate the Herthon system, followed by Zea Rugosia. Finally, Hellmeyer must also remain under our control. It's time to get to work. Dismissed.
Hellpods Prime.
This year's Liberty Day preparations are underway. This will be a time for much-needed morale boosts and remembrance, specifically of the battle for Super Earth. We'll have to wait and see just what is in store for us. In the meantime, our orders are to procure explosives from the Automaton Legion to make ready for the Super Earth Patriotic Pyrotechnic Display. The youths look forward to it, and it is a trademark of the holiday. Last year, for instance, we dropped 15,000 megatons of ordnance on the moon. That's the kind of awe we're going for. Fortunately, Recent intel shows large automaton explosive stockpiles on Marfark and Zosma. The latter will be the easier of the two. By attacking Zania Prime, we will encircle Zosma and ensure its liberation. Marfark, meanwhile, requires us to push through Bekvam 3, its cities, and the liberation of Marfark itself. Both planets' explosive stockpiles are necessary. We must hold them at all costs. Dismissed.
Hellpods primed.
We're readying for the liberation of Oshauna. First off, I'd like to commend our work liberating Seychelles Beach and saving Liberty Day. Good work. Now the task at hand. Sea forces are finishing preparations for Oshauna's campaign. We have been rallying our forces at Hellmire's Gloom Base Alpha, but as we know, the planet has faced multiple Terminate outbreaks for weeks. The latest was yesterday. High Command deems it pertinent to liberate two planets directly connected to Hellmire, Arata Prime and Destanu. We are currently focusing on Arata Prime and its cities. Once that planet is liberated, we will shift to Estanu and complete the major order, provided the Terminates don't attack Hellmire again. Securing these planets will prevent the Terminates from flanking Hellmire during our upcoming attack, secure the Umlaut sector, and reclaim territory lost to the Gloom. Finally, Oshauna will be the only planet from which the Terminates can attack Hellmire, making its defense straightforward. Our success will set the stage for Oshauna's liberation. Dismissed.
Initiating FTL jump 2.
Liberty Day is finally here. Super Earth is free, and citizens are out on the streets enjoying the freedoms only our managed democracy can provide. From Liberty Pyres to the moon's orbital bombardment, our citizens enjoy a day of patriotism and spectacle. We will celebrate from orbit and on the front lines. Enjoy a view of the Super Earth patriotic pyrotechnic display from above. It may not be enough to pay for your service, but it's the best seat in the house. After visiting the capital, join our forces in the Rigel sector and neutralize 40 million enemies with the venerable R2124 Constitution, the same way those before secured our way of life. Completion will earn us a special cape. While you're at it, enjoy the Freedom Alliance's radio broadcast, WFAR 437.7. I'm sure they'll appreciate you tuning in. Enjoy this year's Liberty Day. Dismissed.
Initiating FTL jump 2.
The time has come. Millions lost to the depths of Oshauna will soon be avenged. Our forces at Hellmire are ready. Gloombase Alpha will counteract the Gloom's worst effects. The DSS has arrived at Oshauna and is aiding the attack with its Carlia refit. We will spearhead the assault into the Terminate Hive World. The complete purge of Oshauna will deal a significant blow to the Gloom and enable 40 Prime's encirclement. Nearly 2 months of preparation have culminated in this moment. Our sacrifice has paved the way. They will fight savagely. The Terminate strains will swarm. The Dragon Roach will rain fire from above. The Hive Lords will burrow and rage. Below Oshauna, tyranny stirs. Above it, liberty strides. The fate of the Terminate front rests in the outcome of this battle. Let each Helldiver do their utmost. Dismissed.
Launch initiated.
We just received the strategic update from High Command. There's no time to brief you in orbit. Spread the message to those underground.
Our initial push into Oshauna was going smoothly, but the core split up to defend Terek and Gekrux. We've lost both planets and Crimsica will soon follow. The battle for the Hive World continues. The DSS's heavy ordnance distribution helped us regain some momentum. The downside? Seismic disturbances from our constant bombardment have awakened the planet's Hive Lords, stirring a surge of terminate resistance with them. Sea forces have suffered heavy losses. We're in too deep to withdraw now. High Command has authorized a brief arsenal augmentation of EXO-49 Emancipator exosuits for 24 hours. Neutralizing 50,000 Hive Lords will give us an advantage. Good luck. The complete liberation of Oshauna is at hand. We successfully neutralized 50,000 Hive Lords. During that time frame, the DSS made an emergency jump to Carlia for repairs after sustaining damage in the gloom. Repair crews were swift, and the station returned to Oshauna hours later. As with the brief arsenal augmentation with the exosuits, High Command has authorized the recoilless rifle and warp pack for all Oshauna deployments. The short availability of the exosuit and the warp pack stems from Beryllia 5 and Oasis remaining under enemy control for months. The Hive World has fiercely reacted to our actions. It first unleashed an Impaler rampage on our forces, then rallied the Terminate Hive to boost its resistance, unleashing the Rupture strain to its surface. We are currently ahead of the Major Order and must maintain our momentum. However, other Terminate Hives have been active across the gloom. We believe this is a sign of desperation. The Hive World's campaign is nearing completion. Keep up the pressure. Dismissed.
Launch initiated.
I'll give you a Warfront update before the Major Order. After the liberation of Oshauna, the Gloom's sphere of influence diminished considerably. Super Earth was quick to establish E-711 extraction facilities on the former Hive World as well. Remember, we can synthesize dark fluid from E-711, so keep an eye out for future developments and the ongoing containment of the Gloom. After Oshauna, the core made its way to Terek and Fenmire. The former is yet to be liberated, but Fenmire lucked out after a catastrophic weather event. This eradicated automaton forces on the planet, paving the way for our victory. Now then, we've been tasked with aiding the reconstruction of another Super-Earth megacity, York Supreme. These are cities that were built over centuries, so restoring one in such a short time frame is a colossal feat. We require a significant amount of raw materials to do it, specifically limestone, iron, and gravel. These are available in vast quantities on the planets Andar and Astaroth Prime in the Akira sector. We have already destroyed each planet's biodiversity and terrain for extraction. However, the Illuminate launched a three-pronged offensive to conquer these planets, likely to further their own agenda. Coordination of our defense is ultimately up to you. We must hold the Andar and Astaroth systems to succeed. Dismissed.
Hellpods Prime.
We've received word from Mastia's surveillance center. Yelivar, Alta 5, and Diluvia are in a state of patriotic emergency. The latest report from Mastia mentions low enlistment rates, high sick day usage, antisocial behavior, and, worst of all, unconventional haircuts. This cannot continue. The Ministry of Unity is deploying loyalty intervention and enforcement squads to round up any dissidents on the streets. This time around, anti-dissidents operations are relegated to safe garrisons, discreetly transferred back to these planets. They know what must be done to maintain order in these times of crisis. Meanwhile, we will aid the expansion of the Center for Citizen Surveillance and Safety on Mastia. This will require a large amount of common samples, 15 million from the Illuminate front and 62.5 million from the Automaton front. This will further the development of new surveillance technology. Of course, this is only for the protection of our most loyal citizens. Incoming transmission from York Supreme. Let's hear what they have to say.
Listen, baby, this is Don Salami coming back at you at a very important time. That's right, I snuck back in the WFAR. Hey, listen,
What?
This is very, very important. They're going to name my f***ing town Bernard. Who the f*** is Bernard? Let me tell you, okay?
Shut it off.
It needs to be called New York Supreme, like the f***ing pizza, huh? Minga, these people don't know what the f*** they're talking about. They got their heads
What
up
do you
their
mean
heads.
you can't
These
shut it
people
off?
are probably f***ing voting from Schenectady or some f***. New York Supreme, baby! Bring back the
Okay, buddy,
Buffalo
that's it.
Wings! Yeah,
Dismissed.
go Bills!
Hellpods primed.
This is an update for the ongoing Major Order. On the Terminus front, we lost the defense of Pandion 24. Shortly after, the Terminus launched an attack on Estano in the Draco sector. If Estano falls, Hellmire's Gloombase Alpha will be vulnerable to attacks. I know some of you are tired of defending Hellmire. Holding Estano will keep that from happening. The good news is that invasion level is low, and we will secure the planet in the coming hours. On the Automaton front, we fended off an attack on Mastia while losing progress on Tarsh. The South is also under attack, but the outcome is uncertain. Securing its cities could give us back some momentum. Menkent will be encircled, and Yelivar could be next if Lasath falls. Finally, the Illuminate front is seeing some progress on Effluvia and will soon be liberated, granting us full control over the Cancri sector. However, High Command has issued a strategic opportunity and an arsenal augmentation. In order to quell the fears of our citizens, we will neutralize 5 million voteless with the orbital laser stratagem. This will also show what awaits any dissidents. If we can find them, of course.
New York Supreme, baby!
In any case, initial sample collection rates are steady, so we need to keep that going to complete the Major Order. That is all. Dismissed.
Hellpods primed.
This is not filler, believe me. We maintained order in our territories and successfully upgraded the Center for Citizen Surveillance on Mastia. Now our citizens can show their loyalty under democracy's watchful eye. Unfortunately, after our safe garrisons responded to the dissidents' crisis, our borders remained vulnerable to attack. Invasions are being reported on all fronts, meaning our enemies took notice of our movements. The Automaton front is currently defending Vaj Sajath in the Tanis sector, while the Illuminate front is responding to the invasion of Reef in the Salaria sector. These are just the opening moves of their offensives. Last but not least, The Terminus front is reporting an outbreak on Inari in the Corpus sector. The proximity of Turing to the front line is also concerning, as the Terminus could attack it from Achirt 3 or Veld in a worst-case scenario. We cannot lose the Xenoentomology Center. Its continued survival and 8 successful defenses are our objectives for this major order. There is one more thing. A patriotic message to all Helldivers. Patching him through.
Hey baby, this is Don Salami coming back at you live here at WFAR. Let me tell you, I am absolutely proud of everybody here who voted for New York Supreme, baby. Listen, for all you people out there trying to call my city Bernard, you got another thing coming, and it's Don Salami's right hook. Yeah. Listen, everybody, I am absolutely so proud of every single one of you, and I want you all to know that I love you, I appreciate you, and all hail New York Supreme, baby! Sorry to keep breaking in. WFAR has been beefing up the security. This is probably the last time I can do this. They don't know that Windows exists, though. New York Supreme, long live the Helldivers, baby!
There you have it. Dismissed.
Hellpods primed.
The dissidents' crisis continues. Our defenses failed to exhaust the offensives on all 3 fronts. We continue to lose territory. Zeev was previously redeployed from the front to participate in anti-dissidents operations, leaving us vulnerable. Now our surveillance satellites are aimed at our own cities to locate any internal threats. The Federation of Super Earth has officially declared war on dissidents. Any domestic territory is now designated a war zone. Fortunately, the Center for Citizen Surveillance and Safety has identified countless dissidents and has worked flawlessly. A true Super Earth technological marvel. Those that have yet to be re-educated are detained in dissident holding facilities. The problem? Said facilities are reaching maximum capacity. High Command has issued a new major order to resolve this. We are to liberate a foyer bay in the Galax sector to build a colossal center for the containment of dissidents. The planet is deep within Illuminate territory, which gives us 3 options to reach it. 1. We push from Seychelles Beach, liberating Miriam and Valmox to reach our objective. 2. Push through the Hanso sector to attack a foyer bay from the west. And finally, 3. We liberate Herthon Secundus, then Zea Rugosia in the Ferris sector to reach Galax. Zea Rugosia has ancient sites of Illuminate origin, which emit space-time fluctuations similar to the Meridian Singularity. Liberating all these planets is secondary to the liberation of a foyer bay. We must also have a net territorial gain by the end of the major order. Expect planetary defenses throughout. May liberty guide our step. Dismissed.
Initiating FTL jump 2.
We've uncovered new automaton operations. Before we get into it, the war on dissidents swings in our favor. We are now building the center for the confinement of dissidents on a foyer bay, where 15 million dissidents will be re-educated. High Command has also authorized a new war bond, Python Commandos, for fleet-wide acquisition. The Maxagun is quite a thrill. The rest of the equipment is also noteworthy, especially the Double Freedom shotgun in the Superstore. Now to the major order. The automatons are extracting raw materials from lava planets. These are terrestrial planets with high volcanic activity. They could be early in their formation or in too close proximity to the parent star, creating a hellish, uninhabitable landscape on the surface. This makes them undesirable for colonization, and thus they have not been closely observed. For reference, It's estimated the Milky Way harbors up to 400 billion stars. Most of those are likely to have at least one planet, and less than 6 billion of those stars could host an Earth-like planet as well. Consider all the resources the automatons could extract from locations that are too costly or hazardous for us. Worse still, their ultimate goal for this is yet unknown. Regardless, 3 lava planets have been added to the work table, and it's our duty to liberate them. Fury, K, and Mox. These are located in the Trigon and Sars sectors. Fury's liberation is underway, while we must liberate Virillia 5 to access the other 2. We weren't trained to fight on magma planets, but we'll liberate them all the same. The automatons will be purged from these worlds, and their industrial infrastructure repurposed for humanity's gain. 100 briefings have passed, marking just over a year of coverage of the Second Galactic War. It is you, the channel supporters, the members, and the viewers that keep this channel alive. How many more briefings are to come? What stories or universes are yet to be told? I hope you continue to accompany me in this journey, and I thank you for being here. Dismissed.